What is up, you guys? I am sure you're looking at the title of this video and you are angry at me that I am doing something different than true crime, and it's definitely something you're not expecting, and it's like borderline kind of jumping on a bandwagon that's even driving me crazy on YouTube. But for quite a while now, I've had a pretty large increase in subscribers, and you guys are always asking to know more about me specifically. Obviously, in the videos that I normally do on my channel, it's not about me, it's about the cases that I'm covering. But I always try to kind of make it a point to still make a great connection with you guys, just down to a personal level. If you've been around for a long time, when I had a much smaller amount of subscribers, I was able to connect with you guys so much. We did live streams all the time to talk about cases. I did live case updates. I did a ton of Q&As. I just live streamed for fun a lot of the time. Now that my following is definitely larger than it was at that point, it's been a lot more difficult to do things like that, and I've really had to put a lot more time in my channel. So I don't have a lot of time for fun extras, but you know what? I felt like I was in the mood. I'm about to hit 300,000 subscribers, hopefully in the next month or two, and that's a lot of dang people. And so I figured, why not jump on the bandwagon and do kind of like a Q&A mixed with your assumptions about me. And there's actually not a lot of assumptions. You guys just straight on got to the point of questions that you wanted answered. So let's go ahead and start with very basic things that I am asked all the time. First of all, how do I pronounce my name? I know it's confusing. There's no I in it. You're gonna have to ask my mom. I don't know why she did it like that, but she did. You pronounce it though as if it did have an I. So it's Danelle. I got called Danelle for a very large portion of my life, and because I am utterly terrified of confrontation, most of the time I never corrected anybody. So for a very long time I just went by Danelle until I finally started just introducing myself as Danny and went by Danny for a very, very long time because that was a lot easier for people. Now I obviously say something when someone pronounces my name wrong. It's not that big of a deal, but growing up it was like a massive issue and fear of mine that everyone pronounced it wrong and I couldn't correct them. The next question is, how old are you? I'm asked this all the time. The lady at Chick-fil-A the other day told me I looked 19 and was shocked when she saw 2 children in the back of my car. I'm actually 26 years old, but I'll take the compliment of 19 because aging scares me very badly. The next most asked question is my zodiac sign, and a lot of you actually guess it right, which is funny because when you hear my zodiac sign, you're immediately going to be like, oh, everything makes sense now. I am an August baby, meaning I am a Leo. Literally the most typical Leo that you could find. You go and look anything up Leo, that's definitely going to describe me. The next 2 huge questions that I get all the time are about my hair and my skin. And everyone's always asking me, how do you get your hair to be that curly? What do you do to get your hair to look like that? My hair is just naturally curly, and I always try to not answer those questions on my serious videos because it kind of takes away from what I'm talking about. I will occasionally, if I just get a ton of them, hoping that everyone kind of goes in and sees it. But my hair is just curly. It's always been curly. Most of the time when you see it in a video, I've just showered and air dried it. I don't even really put product in it most of the time. I actually hated it growing up, and now it's probably one of my favorite things about myself. And then everyone's always asking about my skin and how it's so glowy and the makeup that I use. First of all, your girl uses drugstore makeup, 90% of it. I think my concealer is NARS, and then everything else is drugstore, down to my setting powder. And the only reason I'm wearing the Anastasia Beverly Hills highlighter in every video is because my best friend got it for me. So now on to more YouTube related questions that you guys asked. I kind of tried to pick the ones that were the most frequently asked or the most liked. And probably the most liked question out of all of the questions you guys gave me was how I got started doing these YouTube videos and how I find my cases. So if you're not aware and you didn't watch my video a few videos back where I was sponsored by June's Journey, I kind of went into how I got started with true crime. I've always watched true crime anything paranormal, anything true crime, like X-Files, Law and Order SVU, different cops shows, anything possible. I've always watched since I was little, like very, very little. And I always was so fascinated by true crime. And then when I got into high school, I actually saw that there was a class you could take that was a criminal justice class. And I was like, heck yes, sign me up. I think it was technically like forensics, so it was kind of like the science side of things. And anyways, basically, I got into this class and I was obsessed. I think I took it my junior year, and then by my senior year, I ended up being her TA because I just couldn't not go to this class or be some part of it. And I particularly loved that we did a lot of hands-on things. Like we did analyzation of blood splatter, and we did a lot of different puzzles where we had to kind of figure out the crime based on different bits of evidence we gathered. And then there would be stations set up around the room that showed like exactly how the glass broke, what the blood splatter looked like. It was just insane. And I've always been the kind of person that loves puzzles. Like even just physical puzzles I've done since I was younger. My brain loves being challenged like that. So it was just something that I fell in love with and didn't let go of. I actually ended up going to school for a while for a degree in latent evidence. So I was basically directly going in to look at the evidence portion of crime. I wanted to be in the lab a lot. I also was studying to get my associate in science. So unfortunately, if you've watched this channel for long enough, you also know I had a few life things happen that pulled me out of school. So I never actually got to finish it, but it is a huge goal of mine to fully finish my degree. So that's kind of how I got started. I'd always loved true crime. And when I was kind of deciding to go back to school a couple of years ago, I wasn't fully able to because I was staying at home with 2 kids, and so it just wasn't going to fit into my schedule. And I also have been making YouTube videos since 2009, 2010. Nothing interesting, honestly, really embarrassing. But either way, basically at the time, I was kind of vlogging and doing a whole bunch of other random mom type of videos on YouTube, but I just wasn't feeling like I was making an impact. And I'm the kind of person where I need to be doing something important. I need to be doing something that I know is going to help somebody, not just kind of creating random content. So I actually ended up stumbling upon, I think, Bella Fiore first, and I realized then that there were actually people out there that were making videos of things that I was interested in, like a whole genre of, these videos, and I was like, holy freaking crap, what is my 2 favorite things literally on this planet? True crime and YouTube. And I was like, I have to do this. And I was in such a state in my life where I was going through postpartum depression and all these other things, and I just really wanted to be able to help other people because that is what satisfies my soul and that's what makes me happy. And it just kind of happened at the perfect time that I, just happened to find this genre on YouTube, and I was like, heck yeah, I want to dedicate an entire channel to this. From there on, it's just kind of history. At first, I was finding my own cases to cover, but ever since then, as you guys hopefully know, I have a submission form, so every single one of my cases comes from you guys now. If you see a video I'm doing, it is because one of you guys has suggested it. Likely a bunch of you guys have suggested it. So now I don't really have to go out and look for cases. I try to do the ones that you guys know. They're usually smaller ones, which makes me happy because I'm not doing the same case as everyone else over and over and over again. So yeah, that leads me to the next question of what is your favorite part of YouTube as a job? Honestly, when I first went into this, I had no idea I was going to have a following. As I said, I had done YouTube since 2009, 2010 and never had a following. I just liked to do it. Obviously, the end goal is always to have people watch your content, but I had no idea my channel was just going to blow up the way that it did. I remember I think I filmed my very first video for true crime in like June or something. It may have even been like May. And when I was on my 4th of July vacation that year at the beach, I remember going on to my YouTube page and all of a sudden seeing comment after comment after comment, and I will never forget how it made me feel. And it was just theories and people discussing the case, and it was like I had found an area of people that had the same passions and interests as I did. It wasn't just comments about like, wow, that was super fascinating, or do you know what I'm trying to say? It was like people that felt the way I did about these cases, and we were all gathering on my channel. And that has been my favorite part of having YouTube as my job, is that before this, there were a lot of people that, viewed this as taboo, and not a lot of people were interested in true crime around me. I never grew up with someone that was interested in it other than my dad. And having a place where I felt like everyone was on the same page, it just felt like one giant family, and it still feels like one giant family. And to me, that is like my absolute favorite part. The next question is, how long does it take you to research? It takes me quite a while. Honestly, it kind of depends on the case. If there's a lot of documentaries or podcasts about it, I try to listen to as many as I possibly can. There is always a point where it kind of just gets repetitive, and those are usually about an hour long, and then I go through as many Google pages and things as I can possibly find. I go to places like National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. I go to places like NamUs. I try to look things up on Charlie Project. It takes a long time, at least a couple of days, if not longer, to fully research a case. And then I also create like an entire script to kind of follow along in case I get lost a little bit while filming. So that takes a while. So it takes a long time. It takes the entire week for me to start my research, finish my research, create my script, review my script, remember the information, film and edit and upload. It takes me every second that I personally have available, from the start of Monday when I wake up at like 7 in the morning until Saturday morning when I post. I have very random moments in between then that I'm able to kind of step back and do other things. But for the most part, it takes me the entire week to get a video up for you guys. And I know I have a lot of people that always wonder why I don't post more. And honestly, the answer is, to me, quality over quantity. Could I technically probably get a second video out a week? Yes, but it would take away time from my family that I'm personally not willing to give up. I homeschool, I have a husband, I stay at home with both of my children, so I am juggling a lot, and I would just end up putting out a lot less quality content if I upped the quantity. The next question is, what are your hobbies outside of YouTube? And I personally love this question, just because, again, I can't share a lot about myself at all, like even bare minimum on this page with my normal videos. So my favorite hobbies are definitely video games. I play a lot of Red Dead Redemption. That's honestly one of my favorite video games. It has been since the first one came out. I like to hang out with my kids a lot. We play a lot of like games in our house, like board games and things like Uno and all that kind of stuff. And then I also like going to the gym. I probably go to the gym 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. It is like my place to escape, and I absolutely freaking love it. Also, probably one of my biggest hobbies, but unfortunately I can't do this most of the year when it's cold, is build things. My husband and I have actually built majority of our furniture. We built these shelves, we built the table that I'm using, we built our dining room table, we've built our entertainment stands, we built our backyard furniture, we've built pretty much everything. It's something that we like to do together. It's a lot of fun, so yeah. The next question is, if you could, would you rather be a homicide detective, be the one to go on the scene, or be the one to analyze the evidence? That's actually a really, really hard question. But I would have to say it's going to be between going to the scene and gathering evidence and analyzing everything, or being the one to analyze the evidence. Because as I said before, I've always been super into science since I was little. I took every single science elective I could in high school. So that is like always going to draw me to it. The next question is, missing person cases or solved? Whew, that's a hard one. I personally enjoy, I don't like to say solved, because obviously missing persons are my main focus on this channel. I definitely love being able to get that exposure out there, but as we all know, there is something about the closure and the lessons that can be learned out of solved that will always draw me to them. I will never forget when I first did my solved monthly mini series for you guys, and at that point no one on YouTube was doing solved cases, and You guys ate it up, and I was so excited about it, and I loved it, and you guys kept asking me to bring Solved back, and as I'm sure you can tell, I've been doing a lot more Solved lately, and I think it's because I like Solved. I like the resolution at the end. I like to be able to look at puzzles and understand things, and come to a conclusion. A lot of the times with missing persons cases, while I love getting out the exposure and I love kind of going through it and understanding it and piecing it together and figuring out theories and trying to help in any way I can, it ends up just really dwelling in the back of my mind always, and it can really affect my emotional state a lot of the time. So gonna have to go with probably Solved on this one. The next question is, can you update us on your ghost situation? So honestly, if there is one video or a handful of videos I wish I never did on my channel, it's probably going to be those, which is why I have not updated. I've probably received the nastiest comments and come in contact with the most insane people from those videos. But for those of you who aren't aware or haven't watched them, basically for most of my life, I've had very weird paranormal type of things happen to me. We actually pretty much moved out of our last house largely because of the things that happened there. Very, very strange things. And I think about around this time last year, we were having a lot of issues in our current apartment. I even like captured one of the things on Snapchat and didn't notice it, and you guys like flipped out. But basically, there's not been a lot of things happening lately. There have been a few times in the past couple of months where I've been in my office and Powell's been off somewhere, or we've both been in my office. There was one time in specific where Powell and I think it was a couple weeks ago, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, we were in my office, we were going through research, and we heard a noise in the kitchen, and I told him to go and check it, but he was like sitting on the floor and being lazy and didn't want to get up. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll go see what it is. And he was like, it's probably the kids. And I was like, you know what? That's exactly what it sounded like. I think one of the kids is in the pantry getting food out, like trying to get a snack. So I was like trying to be sneaky and sly to bust them, right? Except I walked out of my office and they were sitting in the living room and nobody was in the kitchen and the pantry door wasn't open. So that was definitely sketchy. Could it be explained by something pretty typical? Maybe, but that's actually happened multiple times in the past couple months where we hear a very loud, like obvious, odd noise in the kitchen, but we've all been not anywhere near the kitchen. So that's pretty much the only update that I have. Other than that, we have been completely fine. The next one is, what's the most embarrassing moment in your life? And honestly, I've had quite a few of them. If you know me in person, you know that 9 times out of 10, I put my foot in my mouth all the time. I'm a very awkward person. I don't respond to certain situations very well. So normally I always say the absolute wrong things or put myself in positions like I'm about to tell you about that just literally haunt me for the rest of my life. So this particular one always comes to mind when people ask me this. There was a guy in high school that I used to think was like the cutest. He was like the guy everybody liked. Everyone wanted to be his girlfriend. And he was from California and like this cool guy. I'm literally dying. I'm going to laugh so hard if anyone from my high school is watching this right now. I'm not going to say his name though. But basically, I was in math class and a few of his friends sat at like my group of tables. And we were all working together. And said cute guy walks into the room, and I'm like obviously starting to hot flash from it. And I was super nervous. And of course he came in to talk to the teacher, but to also talk to his friends that just so happened to sit at my table, right? And one of the guys at the table started like messing with me and like poking me with a pencil and like pulling on my shirt and like just being annoying. That's just like what he did. And because my mind was so focused on this guy, I tried to scream at his friend that was messing with me, but instead I ended up screaming his name, the cute guy's name, out loud. in front of the whole class. And I thought I was embarrassed. Honestly, I feel like he was probably more embarrassed than I was, that I literally just screamed his name in the middle of class, and his face turned like bright red, and he just stared at me with this look of severe fear in his eyes, and he walked out. So yeah, every time I'm asked that question, that's always the first story that comes up, and that's a very typical thing for me, is to embarrass myself like that. Anyways, moving on from that question, the next one is, what is your favorite YouTube genre and favorite true crime YouTuber? Honestly, my favorite YouTube genre is ASMR, or I really like vegan cooking channels, like food channels. I could watch either of those literally all day long. I'm trying to think. I obviously like Ellen Fisher. If you know anything about the vegan community, you more than likely know her. I love Caitlin Shoemaker. She's absolutely amazing. For ASMR artists, I usually listen to Whispers Red. She's like one of my absolute favorites. I listen to Karuna Satori. Sorry, I'm trying to like go through like my most viewed people on YouTube. I like to listen to Goodnight Moon. She does a lot of really great ones that are super relaxing. And ASMR Request is really good. Basically, I watch all ASMR videos all the time, or vegan videos. And to be honest with you guys, the question about my favorite true crime YouTuber, the person who asked it specifically said, do not say John Lorden, because we all know that. But it might come as a surprise, but I actually don't watch true crime YouTube. That sounds terrible, but I feel like because I'm surrounded by true crime YouTube all the time, because that's what I do, in my free time, I do not like bringing myself down like that, so I don't. So honestly, the only true crime YouTuber that I do watch when I watch it is John Lorden. The next question is a doozy of a question, and it's, have you ever had to take down a video? And in the past 2 years, and all of the videos that I have made, I have only ever been asked to take down 2. One of which was probably the most irritating of them, because it was one of my most highly requested videos at the time, and I did a really good research job on it. And I mean, I put a lot of effort into it, and the family member that asked me to take it down said that I got all of my information wrong, but then wouldn't tell me what exactly I got wrong. And then I actually was sent a screenshot later on of this same exact person going on a Facebook group page and telling all of the theories that I had brought up, and basically proving that she watched my video, agreed with what I was saying, and I did have the right information. So I'm still unsure of what her motive was when she was asking me to take that video down. I try to obviously be as respectful as possible. If I am in any way, shape, or form harming someone or upsetting anyone, or spreading a bit of information that they feel like I cannot, make right unless I delete the video, I try my hardest to take videos down, or fix the situation. And then the second video that I had to take down, again, I'm not kind of naming names of the videos, but I don't know, that one was upsetting because a lot of close friends of this person, they were the ones who asked me to put up this video, and the family was just not happy with it. It wasn't even a case where we even dove into theories. I was just bringing awareness to it. So I don't think I offended them, hopefully. They didn't really ever explain anything. They just didn't want it up. So I took it down. The next question is definitely a lighter one, and that is, what is your favorite Harry Potter book and movie? If you haven't noticed, I have a Harry Potter tattoo here. I've got another one back here. My engagement ring is actually a Harry Potter ring, and I have Harry Potter books up here. And my favorite Harry Potter book and movie, it's actually the same for both, is, I think, Order of the Phoenix. Honestly, that is hands down one of my favorite. My husband always makes me watch The Half-Blood Prince, and I think it's not that I don't like that one. I just think I've watched it way too many times, but Order of the Phoenix is definitely my favorite. That, or the Goblet of Fire. But I feel like the Order of the Phoenix movie like changed the way the movies were, and if you're a Harry Potter fan, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. The next question is, how do you remember things? I actually have this asked all the time if I have a script. A lot of people, you know, that want to do videos of their own always ask me how I kind of keep everything together, and as you heard earlier, I do have a script, but I try very hard to not look at it all the time. I don't have great memory, if I'm being honest, for most things in life. And if I'm super passionate about something, you could tell a story to me once, and if it really got my interest, I will be able to repeat it back almost word for word. It's interesting because I think it has a lot to do with just like how my brain works, because when I was younger, we found out that I can play music by ear. So I was super young. I heard my cousin play a song on the piano. I had never touched a piano before, and I walked up and I played the exact same song. I used to sit with headphones in at my piano and listen to like more popular songs I liked where the sheet music hadn't been released yet, and I could just figure it out, play it one time, and literally remember it years later. And I think it's stuff like that. And I don't know. I think it feels the same that it did with music as it does with remembering this. If it's something I'm passionate about, it's just really easy for you to remember the details. I feel like it's kind of like if you're not interested in something, you're not going to put as much effort into remembering it, and your brain's not going to want to remember it. So honestly, I think that just has everything to do with it, is that I become super invested in these cases. I spend days, if not weeks, working on them, and I remember it very, very easily. And that ties into the next question of, do you play any instruments? And the answer is yes. I eventually was put in piano lessons, and I think I took piano lessons and played all the time for about 10 years. I have not touched a piano in so long, so I've probably forgotten everything. I taught myself how to play guitar. I played the violin for a while. I used to sing all throughout elementary, middle, and high school, so music's always been like a massive, massive part in my life. My whole entire family is musical. All of my siblings can play instruments. They can pretty much, for the most part, sing, so that's just always been a part of my life, which leads me into the next question of, what is your music style? And I'm sure from the information I just gave you, you could probably guess, but I listen to everything. I grew up listening to so many different kinds of music. My first concert that I ever went to was an Earth, Wind, and Fire concert. And then I went to see like the Black Eyed Peas, and I saw the Blue Man Group, and I've always liked like the Beatles, and oh geez, then I, always listened to country music for a while. I listened to a lot of rap and things like that as well. If you watch me or follow me at all on social media, you know that I am like probably the biggest fan ever of Post Malone and Joji. Like my absolute favorites, and Joji's another YouTuber, so like whole other level of respect for what he's been able to do. I always say like I feel bad for anyone driving in the car with me because my music choices are so all over the place. Like one minute I'll be listening to like A Day to Remember, or I'll be listening to like Paramore, and then all of a sudden I'm listening to Sade and Earth, Wind, and Fire, and then I'm listening to like Keith Urban, and then I'm listening to, rap. It just goes all over the place, honestly. So yeah, I pretty much listen to anything and everything. Next question is, do you believe in the law of attraction? And my answer is yes. And I've actually almost made a video about 2 times about it, but I feel like people would take the video I want to create the very wrong way. Basically, my channel was born out of the law of attraction. I knew what I wanted to accomplish. I knew what I wanted to do, who I wanted to help, and how I wanted to feel doing it. And I used the law of attraction it was insanity. Like I talked to myself every day like a crazy person. I had vision boards, I had notes, I said things, I was very, very much so creating the world that I have now on YouTube through law of attraction, and here we are today. So that's that. I use the law of attraction as well to really help get myself out of postpartum depression. I lost like 60 pounds. It was crazy. Like the second I started using law of attraction, all of that happened all within a year. So I'm just saying. The next question is, if you weren't on YouTube, what would you be doing? I would be on YouTube. End of story. As I said, I've done YouTube videos since 2009 or 2010. It's something I've always done, whether people watched it or not. It's just something that I love. I have watched YouTube. I mean, I've watched Candy Johnson, if you even remember when City and Makeup was big. I'm sure a lot of you might not even know who that is. I watched Jenna Marbles, like back when she was like filming in her like bedroom, like I'm talking her very first videos. I have watched so much on YouTube. YouTube has always been a massive part of my life, so I could never picture myself not making YouTube videos. Now we have a couple of assumptions, and this assumption says you are too nice to stick up for yourself, and I feel like a lot of people already probably know that's not true based on all the times that I have stuck up for myself. Mainly if you follow me on my other social media sites, you probably know this. I don't tolerate being bullied or being talked down to, or people being rude to me, or people lying about me. I had a very long period of my life where I was horribly bullied. Like very, very badly bullied. And I just kind of sat and I took it, and it ended up like altering my relationships with people and the way I felt about myself. So now I've kind of really let go of that. I don't let anyone talk badly to me. I don't let anyone treat me badly, almost to a fault. And I know a lot of people cannot stand that about me, especially when I start sticking up for myself. Everyone says, oh, just ignore them. Oh, just ignore that. But the thing is I did that for majority of my life and saw how it changed me as a person. And when you're a YouTuber, it's a completely different level. It's not like your average everyday life where every once in a while someone says something mean and it's easy to shrug off. People are rude to me on a daily basis, multiple times a day, and it kind of gets harder to keep your mouth shut at that point. And I feel like by staying quiet, you're just allowing that behavior, and you are, showing that you're just complacent to being treated like crap. And despite what every other YouTuber might do, and despite everyone saying to ignore it, I just don't. I've never had any success in ignoring people that are horrible to me. I've only hurt myself by doing that. So I stick up for myself always. I'm still an incredibly nice person. I always strive to be, but I'm capable of being nice and not tolerating BS and being treated bad at the same time. The next assumption is you smell like cabbage. And thanks a lot. Shout out to Powell, my husband, for that. Either he is not telling me what I actually smell like, or he's just messing with me. But either way, that was rude. The next assumption is you are a perfectionist. What makes you think that? If you can't tell by my content, I am a perfectionist. And I personally don't mind that at all. I know some people, like, they let it freak them out. I personally have learned to manage it. Part of the reason why I'm such a perfectionist is because I have OCD, and it's part of my obsessions and part of my compulsive behavior, which might not all the time be healthy, but for the most part, I manage it pretty well. I also just am really proud of what I do. I never do anything halfway. So if it makes me seem like a perfectionist because I just care about the quality of everything I do, then sure, I'll take that label. The next assumption is that I'm really shy. And the answer to that is heck yes. I've never been someone that is incredibly outgoing. I love being around other people, but I'm very introverted, and it takes me getting to know someone a lot before I really come out of my shell. That's probably one of the scariest things though about being a YouTuber, because when I meet people, I am terrified because I'm very shy. I am scared to death to hold up a conversation, and I feel like I come off as like not interested in meeting some of you guys when this happens, but it's not. I'm just really freaking nervous and really shy. The next assumption is that I am stuck up but have a big heart. And I don't know why that one made me laugh. And I find it almost like heartbreaking that someone assumes that I'm stuck up, because I am so far from that as I possibly can be. I never try to act like I am better than someone, or, any form of being stuck up. I try so hard to not be like that. It's actually one of my largest pet peeves ever. I cannot stand people that act like they are better than someone, and unfortunately, I have been faced with a lot of those people lately, especially a lot of YouTubers, and I don't know, it's just, I don't tolerate that, so you wouldn't want to act like that. It's the same thing as, you don't like when people are mean to you, so you wouldn't be mean to somebody else. To me, that's just kind of like common sense, and I've been that way my whole life. I've always been the kind of person that is nice to everyone regardless, and I never think I am more or less than anyone. I am just who I am, and I'm nice to everybody, and that's that. But I do have a really big heart, at least I like to think so. I am really, really protective and loyal and there for the people that I care about. I have a small circle so that I know that I can give the attention I need to people and be there for people in the best way that I possibly can be. And again, I'm a huge empath, so I feel like that also just kind of goes hand in hand. The next assumption is that you are a Slytherin, and the answer is yes. I actually have so many people assume that I am in Gryffindor, and I can see why they think that, but oddly enough, every single time I've taken a test on it or really like thought about it and read into it, definitely a Slytherin. So I feel like that's something that a lot of people probably don't expect. So the very last assumption I thought was absolutely hilarious, and I've debated back and forth on whether I should add this or not, but it's very, very relevant right now, at least for me. And it was interesting to see it 2 years later. And the assumption was that I was really, really upset when people compared me to Kendall Rae and said that I was copying her. And it was so interesting to see this so much later. But it was also funny because that means if you knew that, you're a very, very OG, like Danelle Hallan subscriber. And to be honest, it got to me, but for very different reasons than I feel like people expect. So if you're not aware of the situation, right when I started making true crime, I wasn't quite aware of Kendall yet. I knew who Bella was. And then shortly after that, like right when I started my channel, I think literally while I was researching my first video, I ended up finding Kendall. And I was in love with her. I think she's absolutely awesome. But after my channel got a little bit bigger, oh my goodness, I was like attacked by people saying that I was copying Kendall, that I wasn't original. And the thing is to me, this is honestly still going on. I feel like the more people randomly pop up doing these true crime videos, the more the comparisons start to kind of circulate again. I am probably messaged on a weekly basis of someone coming to me and saying, this person's copying you, this new YouTuber is copying you, or, I really think you're copying this YouTuber, or this true crime YouTuber is better than you, or you're better than this true crime YouTuber. And again, this doesn't get to me for the reasons that people assume. It gets to me because freaking popularity and, competing in the true crime genre is so disrespectful and stupid to me. I think it's very unfair to us as YouTubers for subscribers to try to pin us against each other. You obviously can have your favorites and you can want to defend your favorite YouTuber if something is wrong, but when people come at me like that, I honestly just question why the heck they watch this type of content, because there's this massive stan culture in YouTube, and I get that for other channels that aren't dealing with the same topics that I am and the rest of the true crime community is, but when people try to bring that to this side of YouTube, it irks my nerves so bad. Basically, the moral of this story and the answer to the assumption is that I get upset because this genre is so much bigger than that. And these channels, while, I am the face of this channel and all these other YouTubers are the faces of their channel, I feel like we're all hopefully trying to go towards the same goal of helping people. YouTube has created this feeling of competition amongst each other, which I think is super unfortunate, but that is why I keep myself very tight in this community. It did hurt me because I was being told I was copying Kendall and being compared to her, because I was striving really hard to do something different. I tried to create an entirely different thumbnail to make sure I wasn't, doing anything similar to anyone that was doing true crime yet. I tried to throw new things into my channel, like starting the Solved series, because I hadn't seen anyone really doing stuff like that yet, at least not a lot of it. So it hurt me because I was trying to be original, but mainly it hurt me because I just thought it was so dumb to try to bring that into the genre. If you are out there comparing one YouTuber to another or trying to bash another true crime YouTuber to support your YouTuber, doesn't really say much about me or the other YouTuber. It just kind of says a lot about you, especially in this genre. So anyways, I hate to kind of end that off on like a very serious random assumption note, but it's just been something super relevant to me lately. I've been receiving so many DMs and messages about stuff like this. So I just kind of wanted to nip that in the bud real quick. If someone is copying me, if someone is copying another YouTuber, if someone is out there doing some crazy crap, I just don't want to be involved in it, honestly. I know what I do. I know what I've been doing. I'm confident in what I'm doing. I know that I am who I am and I do what I do for the best reasons I possibly can. And that's all I'm going to speak for is just myself. And I don't personally have time for stuff like that. I don't like that kind of drama in this world. So yeah. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this. I hope you learned a little bit about me, more than you at least knew before, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you to all of you that sent in your assumptions and sent in your questions. It's been so long since I've been able to do something like this. And it's kind of nice to be able to do something that steps back a little bit and isn't as dark, and we can kind of just sit and hang out. So really, really hoped you enjoyed it, you guys. Thank you so, so much for watching this video. Don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed this. Maybe I can do more things like this on this channel. And don't forget to also hit subscribe. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.